Hey everyone, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 7's Humans. We're looking at all the teams available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's in the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or the NAF expanded teams, that's Slann and Khorne, and we're looking at just what you can take if you are going to be playing Blood Bowl 7s. So Blood Bowl 7s is a quick play variant of Blood Bowl. It plays with a smaller team and a smaller pitch in a much smaller timescale. Basically, 45 minutes to an hour will get you a game of 7s 100% of the time. We've got an intro video that actually talks about 7s, and if you want to see 7s gameplay, we've got 2 seasons up, 7 Super Series, where you can go and basically watch two entire leagues of Blood Bowl 7's gameplay. Now that is for the Blood Bowl 2016 rule set. We haven't quite been allowed safely to film the Blood Bowl 2020 version yet, but as soon as we can, we will, because it is a great way to play. We're going to have a look at a few of my favourite human builds for Blood Bowl 7s, and we're going to talk through the strengths and weaknesses and what we think you should run. Okay, so humans got slightly better in this edition of Blood Bowl with a couple of cost reductions and some skill upgrades. I'm looking at you, human throwers. They play very well in 7s. So, strength-wise, they've got a ton of combat power. They can take up to 4 blitzers, and they've got the Ogre on the roster as well. 7s has a limit to the amount of non-lineman players you can have. Basically, it's 0 to 4 positionals. So, although the humans do have access to 4 blitzers and the Ogre, they can only take 4 of any player that isn't a lineman, which does create a couple of cool builds, and basically it means you get to take your choice of what you're running. But the fact that they've got up to 4 of the fantastic movement 7, strength 3 block blitzers, armor 9+, general and strength on a normal, they are great players. And the Ogre performs brilliantly in 7s. It's Ag 4+, which means you can use him to do stuff, but realistically he's a movement 5, strength 5, mighty blow bomb of a player. So love the Ogre in 7s. The Thrower is another great strength here for this human team. It starts off with sure hands in a format where there are no rerolls, because rerolls cost twice as much. That sure hands being an integral reroll is going to be massively useful. And now it's got 2+ passing with the pass skill, so a reroll. So 2+ quick pass with a built-in reroll again. It means that you can use your thrower to get that ball pretty reliably and get it to whoever you want to get it to very reliably. So rerolls are double the cost in 7s, which means you're not likely to see as many, but because the human reroll is only 50k and most of the human players are quite cheap, you can normally shoehorn a reroll into a lot of your human rosters. Weakness wise, probably the only thing to tag up is that they are average speed. You get a choice of 4 players. They can take some movement 8 guys, but those movement 8 guys are strength 2. So you kind of have to balance it out between combat, which is going to leave you at speeds 6 and 7, which is pretty still reasonable for a couple of movement 8 guys, but you're going to be left a little bit on the weak side. That's about as far as we can go saying there's a weakness for humans. So the first roster we're going to look at bakes almost everything we just talked about into fact. So the all Blitzer Reroll build comes in at 590. You get 4 blitzers, so you max out on blitzers, 3 linemen to back up those guys, and 1 reroll for the entire team as well. What you get out of this team is not massively exciting, but you get 3 movement 6 guys and 4 movement 7 block pieces. That is massive in 7s. Plus you've got that 1 reroll to maneuver, to take a risky dodge, to just save it for the ball handling. Every reroll in 7s can save you from a turnover, and every turnover you escape is you could almost consider it another turn. Blood Bowl 7s are 6 turns a half, so if you could use that reroll to get over a fumble or something and save yourself a turn, you end up playing 7 turns against your opponent's 6, and that's going to be a massive recipe for success. Humans are tier 1, so you're not going to get a lot of skills, and the fact that the blitzers have got general and strength means that you can take some removal skills if you want, or you can take sure hands and stick with kind of your generic skills. Kick and block on alignment are brilliant. You've got 4 blockers already. If you've got a spare skill, giving another guy block is never going to hurt. I do recommend kick. I think I recommend kick for every roster in 7s. And probably 11s, to be honest with you. But specifically in 7s, if you can drop that ball close to your blitzers, you are going to be in a really good spot to force a defensive turnover, essentially, and that's going to be massive for the game. So the benefit of this roster is 4 combat pieces. That is probably going to be more than any other team is going to be running, and those guys can take strength access as well, so you've got a really quick way to get guard or mighty blow to just out strength and out remove your opponent. What you can do is you can drop the reroll and boost up one of your blitzers into an ogre, essentially. So the max combat roster comes in at 595. You get 1 ogre, 3 blitzers, and 4 linemen. So you get a bench out of this, which you can drop a lineman and take an apothecary instead to keep your blitzers and your ogre active. It depends on how your playstyle wants to be. Having a bench in 7s can be really useful, but having an apothecary to keep your position on the pitch, also pretty useful. I'll let you decide that one. Now the benefit of this roster is you've got 3 blitzers. Now those blitzers are some of the best players available to humans, so the fact you've got 3 of them means you can still do a ton of stuff. Movement 7 is good, Edge 3 plus is good, and block is good. And then you also, on top of that, get the Ogre. The Ogre is fantastic in 7s. Bonehead is the best of the nega traits, essentially, so it's just a 2+. You got 6 turns a half. Twice per game he's going to Bonehead, so choose your actions wisely, but as far as Bonehead Blitz goes, not terrible odds. It might let you down every now and again. Best case though, or best plan with the Ogre, chuck guard on him and then position him next to your opponent's pieces. If you fail the Bonehead with the Ogre, you just lose that guard basically, so you can still blitz with the blitzers. Although I am a huge fan of a big guy blitz, so to develop the Ogre, chances of you having a secondary skill available to you in this format is pretty slim. Break tackle is going to be sweet on this guy though. Basically at strength 5 it's +2 to a dodge roll, which means the Ogre is going to be dodging away once per turn on a 2+. Those are good odds in 7s. Alternatively, taking Juggernaut, if you do intend to be blitzing with the Ogre, is going to put you in a pretty solid spot. I love the Ogre in this, and actually it performed really well in 7 Super Series, and the Ogre has not really changed. So the next roster we're going to look at is the mid-range mix. This one comes in at 590. All these rosters that are under 600, you can spend that cash on assistant coaches or cheerleaders to your taste. I am personally a fan of assistant coaches because those are the most likely route to get additional rerolls during a game. So 590, spend that extra 10k on an assistant coach. You get in this roster 1 Ogre, 2 Blitzers, and a Thrower, backed up with 4 linemen. So you get a bench, you get a sure hands, and also pass 2+ with pass, so he's going to be able to get the ball out. You get 2 movement 7 block pieces, and you get that Ogre. You don't have an integral reroll, but where you've got the thrower on your team, you've got the reroll for sure hands when you need to go for the ball, but actually you can spend a primary skill to take leader on that thrower. This, I think, is the roster that we ran in 7 Super Series, and it performed really well. The cool thing is, with Blood Bowl 2020, is the passing meta has changed, and this thrower has massively benefited. So if you need to go for a speed turn, you've got 2 blitzers that are movement 7. That is a 2-turn touchdown without any go for it. You've got a thrower that is a 2+, 3+ with a reroll to get a quick or short pass off. It's movement 6 anyway. So you're in a really good spot to even go for the stretch play. But with 2 blocking pieces and the Ogre and an army of linemen, you can brawl out as well. This roster puts you exactly, I think, where you want to be. You've got combat, you've got strength, and you've got skills. I love this roster for 7s. But the humans in this edition got access to halflings, so I thought we can have a look and just expand on the throw teammate shenanigans that you can pull off in 7s as well. So we got with a Catapult Reroll build here, 590, Ogre, 2 Blitzers. That's a great way to start a team. 3 linemen, 1 halfling, and the reroll. So in this roster, what you do essentially is drop that thrower, which is costly, but you replace it with a reroll and a halfling. Now, why are you thinking that a halfling is better than a thrower? Stunty, movement 5 is a little bit slow, but Stunty 3+ means he's going to be able to dodge through places that he has no right dodging through. And also, as the name kind of gives away here, Catapult. You can throw teammate with the halfling. You guys should know by now that I'm a really big fan of a defensive throw teammate. You throw that halfling into the mix with your other opponent's players. He's 30k. He might die. You might take out one of their players. But what you're going to end up with is this little guy running around 3+ dodging with dodge everywhere. So if you do a deep kick, throw teammate, you've got the halfling harassing the ball carrier, your opponent is going to be forced to deploy 1 or 2 other players to really just protect their ball carrier, even in their or even behind their own line of scrimmage. That means that the other 6 of your players can move up and destroy the rest. You can kind of divide and conquer. And it also does give you the stretch play that if you need to go for a cheeky throw teammate, it's still 13 squares to the opponent's end zone. So you've got just as good odds doing this in 7s as you do in 11s, and you actually have a reroll which you can save for those really big plays. So I like the utility that the halfling gives you. It isn't as strong as the thrower build instead, but it is quite fun. And the cool thing about the human team is it's got a lot of variety. So you can go combat heavy, you've got a bit of throw teammate, you've got a big guy. You've also got movement 8 dodge catchers. Okay, these guys are very fast and reasonably agile. So the max pass build here comes in at 575. You take a thrower, you take 3 catchers for him to throw to, 4 linemen to back up your crew, and you've got enough leftover cash there for a reroll. So the benefit of this roster is those 3 movement 8 dodge pieces. You suffer from strength, but you've got 8 players. So on defense, if you want, you can drop a catcher out and replace it with a lineman. What you might be able to do, what you might consider doing, is you've got 25k extra. You could drop a lineman and boost up one of your catchers to a blitzer to add a bit of strength here. But the whole idea of this roster is that you max out and go deep and spread. You've got that thrower, he's going to be able to get that ball to any one of those catchers and they're going to be able to score. On defense, you are going to be having to rely on linemen doing the work. So it's going to be a positioning heavy game, and that reroll, possibly combined with the leader reroll that you can get on a primary for your thrower, it's going to be 2-die up territory, I think. Or at least you're going to be 1-die blocking with a skill sort of deficit. So defense is lower on this one, but this has a heck of an offensive scheme. The last roster option we've got is basically a full-on mix. So we've got the Ogre mix here coming in at 585. You get 1 Ogre, 1 Blitzer, 1 Thrower, 3 linemen, your 7th player is a halfling, and a reroll. So you kind of get a bit of absolutely everything. And I think, you don't have quite enough cash to swap the halfling out for anything. The cool thing about this roster is you've got throw teammate, you've got a big guy to run around smashing stuff with, you've got a blitzer to be reliably making calculated blocks with, but also a movement 7 scorer. You've got the thrower there that you can brew up to be your leader caddy, while also doing a great job of picking up the ball and cheeky 2++ passing it to somebody else. You've got 3 linemen who are very decent players, and you've got that halfling if you want to go stunty rushing, if you want to go throw teammate, if you want to go for a cheeky 2-die into a cage on a 3+ with a reroll and just try and 2-die up block somebody out. This is a kind of do everything roster. And it's going to be great fun. Having the Ogre, having the halfling, you've still got 2 of the best human players on there with the blitzer and the thrower as well. And you are managing to afford a reroll. You kind of get a bit of everything with this roster. And if you're not sure, or you want to experience the new version of humans, then actually this is probably a good one to take. You can get 3 games of 7 in three games of 7s in an evening, easy. Okay, that's 3 and a bit hours with setup time. So if you want to get the human experience, the Ogre mix is going to deliver that on the Blood Bowl 7s pitch. But if I had to pick a human team to run, you guys would probably not be surprised to see that it would be the mid-range mix here. 590, 1 Ogre, 2 Blitzers, 3 the thrower, and 4 linemen. You put leader on the thrower, you've got a reroll for your team. You've got an Ogre who can run around doing some great work. Guard on the Ogre, leader on the thrower, 2 skills is probably all you're getting in 7s. You've got 2 blitzers, you've got an Ogre who's going to be able to support with guard. You've got that thrower to do shenanigans, and you've got a bench as well, although you can drop a lineman to take the apothecary to keep your key positionals alive. I loved running this in 7s. In 7 Super Series Season 1, I loved this team. It was great. It was mid-range, it was fast enough to get a score in 2 turns without too much of an issue. But it was also strong enough to face into almost any roster. The Ogre is one of the best big guys out there. The Blitzers are some of the best Blitzers out there, and the thrower is definitely in the top for one of the best throwers in the game. So you do get everything in this roster. This roster comes to play. You don't have the reroll, which is why it's so important that you can take leader with that thrower. Once you've got that, you are brewing up, and you should be able to go toe-to-toe with almost any roster. I'm interested to see exactly what you can build out on the Renegades one. Haven't got that far yet. Whether or not they can fit 3 big guys in a team, I'm not sure. But against most teams, you are going to be stronger and you're going to have more skills. You are fast enough to deal with everything, and you're actually resilient too. I love this roster in 7s for the show, and I would love it on a tabletop in a tournament almost any time. This is my pick for humans in 7s. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap up now. Please let me know which of the rosters you like the look of, which ones I have missed out. There's probably a roster there with multiple halflings and an ogre, but I thought that was a little bit subpar potentially. I would definitely take this roster over it anyway. Thanks very much for watching, and happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.